9 interesting facts about the James Webb Space Telescope. 1. The James Webb Space Telescope is named after NASA's second administrator. The JWST, formerly known as the Next Generation Space Telescope, was given a new name in 2000 to recognize James E. Webb. In his capacity as NASA's top official from 1961 to 1968, Webb transformed the agency from a disjointed group into the well-oiled machine it is today. Along with the majority of the Apollo programs, Webb also oversaw the Mercury and Gemini programs. Webb had been accused of being complicit in the systematic termination of any personnel who were suspected of being homosexual. Therefore, naming the JWST after him was contentious. 2. It took 26 years to go from a proposal to deployment and fully operational. Given that it was first proposed in 1996 and had a 2007 launch date, the JWST's path to completion was, to put it mildly, difficult. The expedition was postponed numerous times as a result of the mission's escalating expenditures. The JWST's design phase was completed in 2011, 4 years beyond the original launch date, and work on its components started. It was finally assembled and tested 5 years later. During testing in 2018, the telescope's solar shield tore, and an investigation discovered 344 potential single-point failures. Over the course of the next 4 years, we searched for answers and repeated our tests. It's fantastic that it debuted in 2022. 3. The JWST's instruments allow it to capture images of objects 100 times less bright than the Hubble Space Telescope could. A near-infrared camera, a near-infrared spectrograph, a combined mid-infrared camera and spectrograph, and a combination near-infrared camera, spectrograph, and guiding sensor are the 4 scientific instruments of the JWST. The James Webb Space Telescope now has an unmatched capacity to collect information about the cosmos and its origins thanks to these 4 instruments. 4. The James Webb Space Telescope can see back in time. The light that the first galaxies emitted when they were forming was in the visible spectrum. Light changes farther into the infrared spectrum as it moves farther and longer. Like no other telescope before it, the JWST is able to record the light of the first stars to develop as it takes pictures using infrared sensors. One of the most important aspects of the JWST is its capability to observe the beginnings of the universe. 5. It can also see right through clouds of space dust. Dust exists in space as well, and it interferes with conventional telescopes. This is particularly problematic since galaxies developing generate a lot of dust. The JWST can take better pictures of galaxies forming than any other telescope, because infrared light can pass through dust clouds more easily than light in the visible spectrum. 6. The James Webb Space Telescope must be kept below -370 F-223 C2. Function correctly. Infrared telescopes have the drawback of being rendered unusable by any kind of heat. Due to excessive heat interference, neither the Hubble Space Telescope nor infrared telescopes on Earth may be used. The temperature of space is really lower than that of the telescope, but only for objects that are not illuminated by the sun. In order to combat this, the JWST is equipped with a sun shield made of 5 layers of reflective film each as thin as a human hair. This shield reflects the sun's light away from the highly sensitive instruments. The telescope can only ever view 40% of the sky at once, since it must always be under the shade of the sun screen. 7. The JWST sits in a stable orbit 1 million miles (1.6 million kilometers) from Earth. However, it is not circling the planet. It has been positioned in the Sun's orbit in a spot known as a Lagrange point, because it must constantly be shielded from the Sun's light. A Lagrange point is a special place in space where two objects can be readily kept in close proximity to one another. In this scenario, the JWST will effectively be able to maintain an orbit around the Sun with a stable position with respect to Earth and minimal motion adjustment. 8. To fit into its launch vehicle, the JWST had to fold up like the world's most expensive piece of origami. The solar screen measures roughly 46 by 70 feet in diameter, 14 meters by 22 meters. Although there is a lot of room inside a rocket for a payload, this would never have a chance of fitting. The final solution, a telescope that folded in on itself, was both extremely clever and elegant. 9. The JWST's launch and deployment went so smoothly that its expected mission length was doubled. The JWST needs a very little amount of fuel to maintain stability in its orbit around the Sun. The mission had a life expectancy of around 10 years based on conservative estimates of the fuel required to position and deploy the telescope. Ariane 5, the JWST's launch vehicle, placed the telescope with such precision that substantially less fuel was needed to move the telescope to its destination. This is a monumental accomplishment that NASA could only have hoped for, as fuel is the only thing keeping the James Webb Space Telescope from operating for much longer. One of the most intriguing aspects of the James Webb Space Telescope is the idea that countless generations of scientists, astronomers, and everyday people like you will use it to study the universe. Hopefully it's useful, and don't forget to like, subscribe and sound the notifications to add your insight about facts around the world.